All right, let's get into it. Today, we're taking a deep dive into something that's seriously shaking up the design world, Viscom 1.1. It is packed with some incredible new features that are turning AI from just a simple tool into, well, a true creative partner. Okay, let's jump right in.
So, let me just start with a big question. What if you could take a simple 2D sketch, something you just drew by hand, and in a matter of minutes, transform it into a fully rotatable 3D model? I know, it sounds a little bit like magic, but that's the core promise of the tech we're about to break down.
Now, the first thing to really get your head around with Viscom is that it's not here to replace you or your creativity. Not at all. The whole goal is to create an AI design partner. Think of it like a powerful co-pilot that works right alongside you to make your ideas happen faster, not to automate them away.
And getting started is just insanely easy. You literally just upload a sketch. Something with clean lines usually works best. Right away, the AI looks at your drawing and writes a text prompt for you. And then, with just one click, bam, it generates 4 initial concepts for you to start playing with. It really is that quick.
And this is one of those new features in action, the auto prompt. The second you upload a sketch, Viscom analyzes it and just writes a detailed description. So for this one, it might say something like sleek white sports car with black wheels. This saves a ton of time and, honestly, gives you a fantastic starting point for your first renders.
Okay, so you've got your initial concepts. Pretty cool, right? But what's next? Well, this is where the real design work kicks in, where you move from that first AI generation to a refined, intentional piece of work. So let's look at the tools that make that happen.
Viscom 1.1 rolls out this whole new suite of selection tools that give you, the designer, pixel-perfect control. You've got your classic brush selection and auto selection tool, which we'll get to in a sec, and for anyone who's ever used Photoshop, you'll be happy to see a Bezier selection tool that works just like the pen tool.
And this is a perfect example of why that control is such a game changer. Let's say the first AI render changed a detail you really loved from your original sketch, like this window graphic right here. No problem. You can just use the Bezier tool to perfectly select that area and paint it right back in. Your original vision is never lost.
Now, the auto selection tool, this is where things get really smart. It's basically an AI that understands what you're designing. So as you move your cursor over the image, check this out. It intelligently highlights the different parts, the wheels, the body, the trim. You can select and change specific parts with just a single click.
So when you start combining these tools, that's when you get this whole new level of precision. You can say, isolate a wheel, erase it, and let the wheel from a previous layer show through. Or you can select one panel and just change its color. It's all about giving you, the designer, the final word.
So, we've taken a sketch, we've generated this beautiful render, and we've refined it with these amazing tools. And the result is super impressive, a high-quality image that took just minutes. But it's still just a flat 2D image.
Until you click this one button. And believe me, this is the moment that changes the entire workflow.
With that one click, Viscom analyzes your 2D render and generates a detailed 3D model. We are literally breaking into the third dimension directly from our 2D workspace. It's wild.
The designer whose workflow we're following, Burke Kaplan, he puts it perfectly. He says, "It's so magical to me. You see the sketch here and then you can just rotate it." And that's exactly the feeling. It's this genuine wow moment when you see your flat drawings suddenly have real volume and form. So, what does having this 3D model actually unlock for you? Well, you can spin it to any angle you want to really understand the volumes and surfaces. You can then render completely new 2D views, like a rear or a front view, from a side view sketch. You can even export it to use as a starting point in other 3D software, like Blender. And, crucially, it all lives on a new layer, so your original work is always safe.
All right, so we've nailed the form and the dimension, but now let's talk about style. How do you guide the AI to get a very specific look or mood? Well, Viscom gives you 3 main levers of control. I want you to think of these like a creative mixing board. The first slider, Drawing Influence, tells the AI how closely it needs to stick to your original lines. Then, Palette Influence controls how much of a preset style to apply. And finally, Reference Influence. This one dictates how much the AI should borrow from a completely different image that you upload. So this basically gives you 2 main ways to art direct the AI. You can use your words, changing the prompt from white car to sleek red sports car. Or you can use a reference image. You just upload a photo you like, and it'll transfer its specific mood, its color palette, and its lighting right onto your design.
And here's where it gets really powerful.
You don't even have to leave the app to find a reference image. You can just pop over to Vizcom's Workbench, generate a totally new image with the exact style you want, let's say a red car in front of a dark building, and then use that image as the reference for your own design. It's a completely self-contained creative loop.
So when you put all of these features together, the super fast generation, the precision tools, the 3D conversion, the style controls, what you get is a fundamentally new creative workflow. It's fast, it's iterative, and it's incredibly collaborative.
And as Burt Kaplan points out, this isn't about just clicking a button and getting a final design. He says it's a process, and it's giving us more and more features to have more control and more creativity. And that's the key takeaway right there. These tools are built to enhance the design process, not to replace it.
And to support this new way of working, where you're making tons of versions, there's one last brilliant little feature. The Workbench now lets you copy all of your layers to a single grid. This automatically organizes dozens of your variations so you can see your entire design journey and compare all your ideas at a glance. It's genius.
It's pretty clear that tools like Vizcom are changing what it means to be a designer, blending that essential human creativity with AI-powered speed and possibility. Which, I guess, leaves us with one final question for you. If this is your new creative co-pilot, where are you going to fly first?